Hello everyone, welcome back. In this subtopic, you are going to learn about saturated formations. At the end of the learning, you should be able to describe and differentiate the importance of saturated formations. An aquifer is a saturated formation of the earth. It not only stores the water, but also yields it in adequate quantity. Aquifers are highly permeable formation and hence they are considered as main sources of groundwater applications. There are many different types of geological formations of groundwater. Some of it are aquitort, aquicludes, and aquefuge. An aquitort is also a saturated formation. It permits the water through it but does not yield water in sufficient quantity as much as aquifer does. It is because of their partly permeable nature. But however, if there is an aquifer under the aquitort, then the water from aquitort may seep into the aquifer. An aquiclude is a geological formation which is impermeable to the flow of water. It contains a large amount of water in it, but it does not permit water through it and also does not yield water. It is because of its high porosity. Clay is an example of aquiclude. An aquefuge is an impermeable geological formation which is neither porous nor permeable, which means it cannot store water in it and at the same time it cannot permit water through it. Compact rock is an example of aquefuge. In situations where there is an aquitort of limited extent, it is possible for a perch aquifer to exist as shown in the figure. Although perch aquifers may be good water sources at some times of the year, they tend to be relatively thin and small and so can easily be depleted with overpumping. Groundwater has a long-term memory because it takes a long time to fill and empty a large reservoir. Thus, water has a long residence time in the subsurface. The residence time defined for steady-state systems is equal to the reservoir volume divided by the inflow or outflow rate. The areal extent of groundwater flow systems varies from a few square miles or less to tens of thousands of square miles. The length of groundwater flow paths range from a few feet to tens and sometimes hundreds of miles. A deep groundwater flow system with long flow paths between areas of recharge and discharge may be overlain by and in hydraulic connection with several shallow, more local flow systems. Thus, the definition of groundwater flow system is to some extent subjective and depends in part on the scale of a study. Surface water seeps into the ground and recharges the underlying aquifer. Groundwater discharges to the surface and supply the stream with base flow. USGS integrated watershed studies assess this exchange and their effects on surface water and groundwater quality and quantity. The development or contamination of surface water or groundwater resources typically has an effect on age. Therefore, a basic understanding of the interaction between surface water and groundwater is crucial for better management and sound policy making related to water resource problems. A spring is a point of exit at which groundwater from an aquifer flow out on top of earth crust and becomes surface water. Springs occur when water pressure causes a natural flow of groundwater onto the Earth's surface. As rainwater enter or recharge the aquifer, pressure is placed on the water already present. Spring water originates as groundwater until it reaches the Earth's surface, and at that point, it is then classified as spring water. Artesian water is really not different from other groundwater except for the fact that it flows to the land surface because pressure in the rocks. An artesian spring occurs where groundwater flows to the surface through natural cracks in the overlying cap rock. Thermal spring, also called hot spring, is a spring with water at temperature substantially higher than the air temperature of the surrounding region. Most hot springs discharge groundwater that is heated by shallow intrusions of magma in volcanic areas. Hot springs are a rich source of sulfur and its healing benefits include treating skin irritations and infections such as rashes and eczema. Sulfur-rich hot springs also thought to help treat dry scalp, arthritic pain, and internal problems such as menopausal symptoms and digestive disorder.